All right, my journey. Like I said, 26,000 staff. My journey was more specifically at a micro level. We were in an L&D department. We were L&D departments in different parts of the business. So the organisation decided to centralise all of L&D. You know, we can talk about the merits or otherwise into a centralised L&D group. My task was to get all these people from different regions with different backgrounds, different skills. Some were IDs, some were facilitators, some were training deliverers, to try to get them to talk and communicate and share knowledge and understand each other much better. So the task was to get these people to integrate, talk, communicate, learn from each other. 350 people were part of this operation. So we had 350 people in this L&D space servicing 26,000 staff. So if you look at the stats, we were probably on par with what an L&D department should be. Mind you, since I've departed, I think it's gone down quite a bit. And we were predominantly e-learning. We had a lot of the, about 70 to 75% of our learning was e-learning. The other 20-odd% was formal classroom, and then we had quite a little bit of social learning. So we hadn't done a lot of social learning. So my task was to show my fellow L&D professionals what social learning is all about, and then for them to use that sort of information to start building that into their programs and their courses and so forth. But before you start on a social learning journey, you need to understand what is the goal and outcome you need to achieve. And it's a bit like any learning initiative you're undertaking. You must first clarify up front what is the bigger purpose, what is the goal you want to achieve. With me, it was to get these 350 people talking, collaborating, sharing. That was my goal, to get them to start connecting, identifying the experts in L&D. Someone might be a very good instructor designer, someone was a good facilitator. How we start identifying these people. So make sure you identify up front, before you even start looking at the tools, the platforms, what is your goal, what is your outcome? How is it going to align with your broader HR L&D vision? And then start thinking about how you start to implement and start to get it into place. Sorry. So, a very good report I come across, and we haven't seen this one. It's a really good one. It's by the UK. I've got a lot of connections to the UK, so I look to the UK quite a bit. Surfing the Collaborative Wave, and I've got the link down the bottom here. And these guys did a very, very good recent survey on the importance of collaborative learning. And what I liked about this was they found that those who successfully introduce new forms of working in organisations do so by first understanding and explaining its benefits to other stakeholders. So one of the first things you've got to do is start explaining and talking about the benefits. Before you start even building or considering what you're going to deploy, start articulating, outlining the broader benefits. And by doing that, you'll have a lot more success to sell the process later on. I can't emphasise this as much, and I do it a lot with my consultancy. Be clear on the measures of success you want to achieve. Be clear on the outcomes you want to get to, and start working towards those before you even start thinking about what tool, who you're going to use, what role you're going to play, and so forth. So with social learning, it's about identifying what are some of the pains your organisation is experiencing. Talk to some people saying, what are you currently grappling with? What is something that your organisation or you in a particular business area is looking to achieve over the next week, month or two? And then start thinking about, okay, what kind of goals can I set to achieve those, and look at social learning being part of that. It's about developing the need, developing that urgency. Executives stay up late at night because of a number of things that's on their mind. If someone can come to their office the next morning and say, I can alleviate that pain for you, they're going to love you, as long as you can show them how you're going to do it. And that's what it's about. I'd start identifying some pain, some issues, some of those thorny areas in your organisation that need some attention, and start thinking about how you can do some small prototyping with some social learning initiatives to alleviate that, and they'll love you. And we'll talk soon about champions, and they will become your champions. That's the ICC Cricket World Cup, which Australia won last year. I don't know you don't follow cricket. It's the equivalent of a World Series. Over here on the left-hand side, that's me sitting next to it, but anyway, that's another. So that's a champion. So in your organisation, you need to start identifying, as part of your social learning, who are going to be your champions, who are going to be the people that are going to advocate for you. How do you identify those people? Well, there'll be people that are IT savvy, there'll be people that are open to innovation, there'll be people that are experiencing some pain at the moment. They're going to be people that are going to be spreading your organisation. Start talking to the operations area of your organisation. Identify those people who can be your champions. They're the ones you can work on, and they're the ones who are going to go in batting for you when it comes to an executive roundtable conversation about, I need X or Y to do such and such initiative. They're the ones that are going to be able to support you. Identifying your champions is key part of your initial process. And that's what I did. With my story, what I did is I went to my exec and I said, listen, we've got 350 people. They've come from different areas, different locations. We need to get them together. Have I got a deal for you? I'm going to get them connected. I'm going to get them sharing. I'm going to get them talking to each other. And I'm going to get them identifying various skill sets of each other that will minimise us having to pick up the phone, make 5 phone calls before I find an appropriate instructor designer or find the right facilitator. They'll be able to do that via this online facility that I'm going to create. Go for it, Con. Good luck. So getting them on board, getting their support, they became my champions. Then I went to the middle managers that were, the instructor designers were reporting to. So talk to them about saying, how would you like if your people were able to deliver learning a lot quicker by identifying subject matter experts, identifying the right people to deliver, identifying the right people to just go forward. Great, let's go for Con. That's the kind of thing we need, because at the moment we're struggling to know who's doing what, who's where, who's the right person we need to talk to. Culture. That's a little picture of Greece, my favourite country. What this little picture shows is that there's a lot of culture around here. And culture of an organisation is key to social learning. Some organisations might not be ready, but it doesn't mean you have to stop and wait for that culture to change. You can take and play a role as part of that cultural change. And the way you do that is, again, by identifying those right people, talking to them, and then also looking at how people are learning. You might see people start taking out their mobile phones. So, okay, they're comfortable using some of that mobile technology. How can I deliver something that's going to be able to fit into that for them, to be able to access on the bus, on the train, maybe at home on the weekend? Look about how they're actually currently learning, whether they're doing a lot of online learning, and see that they're getting bored with some of that online learning. How you can take some of that learning and support it with some social learning initiatives, e.g. a forum they can interact with, some other things they can do that takes them away from some of that boring e-learning. Not that you guys do the boring e-learning, but we'll see that boring e-learning and take it away to some of that other areas, like a chat room or a forum, where they can start talking more and interact more. Never underestimate the power of user-generated content. That is the most powerful content available to any one of us in our organisations. When people create content that is shared amongst each other and people continue to add to that, that's going to be the content you'll be able to take and develop a little performance tip sheet, or take and develop your next e-learning product, because that's what people are talking about and the content is already there for you. If you build it, they will come. No, they won't. No, they won't. That's what I talked before about the tools. Just because you might deploy a new enterprise social network, unless you start putting some effort into it, and we'll talk soon about developing the roles, getting some content and so forth, that don't necessarily come. And you find a lot of social learning initiatives and organisations fail because they've not identified the goals, the purpose, they've not created some champions, and they go straight into this. They get a tool and say, okay guys, we're now using Yammer. All right, here we go. What? Where? Why? Who? What? There's been nothing clearly identified. And we see that a lot of organisations where they just sort of bang, go straight in, and you're nodding your head, and there's no process around it. There's no understanding what is the bigger picture, why we're using it, how we're going to get value out of it, how we're going to track it, how we're going to measure it, those type of things. So if you build it, they don't always come. Contrary to what Kevin Costner tells us. Don't make it hard work for them. Try to make it as simple as easy for them to access whatever you're deploying. A single sign-on approach. Make it easy for them to access it. Maybe it's a little icon on their desktop they can just click. Maybe it's a little icon as part of their workflow process. They can just click and go to somewhere once and be able to access what they need to access, that particular thread or that particular conversation, or whatever the case may be. Don't make it hard work, because as we know, more than whatever, I think the research shows, more than 2 clicks or something people give up. So make it 1 click, make it easy for them to access. Don't make it too much hard work for them to be able to tap into what they need to tap into. And that's what this is about trying to show. Hey, we all fail. We're all going to fail, and we don't let that get us down. And failure is not a word that we probably all like to use, but failure is part of what I call working out loud. So try it, deploy it. If you do fail, you keep going. But what you do is you've got at least some learnings from that failure. You've got something you can take away. You've at least got a tool that you deploy that you can use. You've got your champions identified. You start thinking about different goals and purposes and how you want to use that for your next initiative. Failure, like Thomas Edison said, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. And we keep doing it. So failure is not something that should deter you from continuing to plough away with your execs, with your operational staff, with your fellow L&D team members to continue to go on this journey. Social learning, the key thing around social learning is there's a lot of information out there. So you deploy a particular enterprise social network, it's about all this content you've got. And when we talk about content, and we've all seen this particular graphic, there's so much out there. One of the key attributes, or one of the key aspects of developing any social learning framework is you've got to start curating. You've got to start looking at the content that you've got, whether it be user-generated content, or whether it be content you're pulling from somewhere else, and you start to curate it to make it relevant for your organisation, but also to give it value and add value to it for the people you're targeting that particular initiative to. So if you've got a sales team, you've got a social learning initiative, you've got to make sure you're targeting that content for that particular group. And that might be a different part of your social network, but content curation is very important. And getting information off the internet is just talking, drinking from a fire hydrant. So now there's a couple of tools I use for curation. I know you probably preach it to the converter here. Have you seen Scoop It? It's probably the longest one that's been out there, and a really good one. So if you're looking to do some curation, Scoop It is really good. Right Relevance, anyone seen this one? Okay, I'll show you this one because I think this one is really good. If I can get it up, just give me 1 second here. If I can get Right Relevance up. And what I like about Right Relevance is you can sign in with your Twitter account. So it picks you up straight away, so there's no continually having to, you can do it with your email, but also you can sign in with Twitter, so it integrates well with your Twitter. You start developing, you can look for some content here, or you can develop some particular topics you want to look for over here. So at the moment, what it does is, as soon as I log in, it gives me my content straight away. So it pulls in content from all over, from blogs and other various sites. That's useful. So use this as part of looking for content you want to capture for your needs, and start, when we'll talk about soon about how to add value to it. So these are good for curating, finding content. You then must play a role of a curator, looking at that content, seeing its validities, reliability, credibility, and so forth, and then adding some value to it in relation to what you want to use it for. One other one I'm going to show you, I think this one you should get on board. It's just come on recently. My friends in UK, anyone heard of BuzzSumo? No? They've developed a really good one called Anders Pink. Now, Anders Pink, the good thing about this one is, and this one you should get on their beta site, you can create team briefings. So you can set up people in your team with a briefing, and you can start capturing some content in your team briefing. So I've got one there, for example, informal learning. So so that's the content that's come through. And the good thing about this particular site is you can exclude certain domains. So if you're getting too much from CNN.com, you can say, I don't want this domain. Certain people you think who write a lot, so you can exclude certain content, but also focusing on a number of keywords to develop the content you're looking for. Yes, this is called Anders Pink. Anders Pink. So if you go to anderspink.com, then you can put in for the beta testing, and I'll just tell them you know Con, and I'll set you up. The good thing about this one, what I like about this, is that you can do the old thumbs up, you can pin it, you can flag it, but also you can add a comment. So you can actually start adding value to your content when you're sharing and saying, hey guys, I like this article, this is really good content, this is really relevant for what we want to do in our leadership program. So you can start adding that value, identifying it, and pushing it out to people. So it's really good for adding comments, flagging it, and so forth. But I just want to show you these tools quickly, because this is not the crux of my presentation, but I think it's important to be aware of some of the new tools that are available that you can access in order to make your life a lot easier. I came across this a long time ago, and I really think it's still very relevant. It's by a guy called Rowett, and I'm probably not going to pronounce his surname properly, Bhagavawa. And he talks about the sort of 5 aspects of content curation. And this is very relevant for when you are curating content. It's about aggregation, distillation, elevation, mashups, and chronological sort of curation. It says the act of finding and grouping, organising, or sharing the best and most relevant content on a specific issue. So these are the kind of things you can use. So sometimes you want to curate basically on identifying a large trend. You know, this is a very popular type of topic. A lot of people are liking this particular content. They're retweeting it. That might be a way you want to curate, although you're not adding value. For me, the key part of curation is this mashup, where you are taking existing content and adding some value to it, and then you are creating new points of view that you are sharing. But when you think about curation, think of this particular diagram and what space you want to play in and what kind of curation you wanted to take as part of your social learning framework. The last tool I'll show you is this one it's called Zeef, and if you ever want anything about content curation, Robin Good. I've been following Robin for a while. He does a lot of stuff around bringing in links that are related to particular areas, like content curation resources, new discovery tools, new curation tools. Very, very good. But on Zeef, you'll find a couple of people who create resources for others to tap into. So it saves you having to go and find the right tool that you want to use. You go to Zeef, follow Robin, and he updates these things on a regular basis. So video discovery tools, curate parts of a video tool, so what tools you might be able to use, really, really good. So that's another little tool or site you can go to. As our good mate Dave Cully says, curation isn't just about collecting or filtering, it's about adding value through context analysis. And that's the key part about it. And why I mention curation, it's key to social learning, because social learning is all about grabbing content and distributing it and adding value to it by people having conversations. Curation is going to be a key component of that particular aspect.